helping out the kids and shit like that. So we good.
As you should, man. You know, today we got one of my homeboys in here. I tell you, man, when I first met Daryl, man, I had a little spot over in Lakewood with a little studio, and he let me hold his MPC for like a whole year.
Oh, yeah. You talked about that.
Yeah, MPC 3000. I had that man's machine for a whole year, and I learned how to master that motherfucker in a whole year. I had the 2000, right? But the 2000 and the 3000, for anybody that produces, way different. They the same, but they different, right? And to me, the 3000 kick a little harder, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
The 2000 is like a toy kind of, you know what I'm saying? But he got, man, like one of them stories, man. It's like the ultimate success story. He was a dude that came to Death Row as an R&B singer and wound up producing one of the best-selling hip-hop albums of all time, Makaveli.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So, D, when you first hooked up with Suge, you was an R&B singer? You was just doing R&B?
I was just doing R&B, a little gospel, you know, but my background gospel. But R&B, when I came to Suge, I sung him some R&B songs I was writing. And he hired me immediately. Yeah.
And you fell in love with him.
Yeah. But you know, when in Rome, you do what the Romans do. When I got to Death Row, the only checks being cut was hip hop. So I learned to go grab the equipment around the building and learn how to mess with the MP or whatever else they had, whatever the other kind of module they had. And just so happened, it was fortunate for me that one day, messing around with what I was doing, Pac walked in and told me the beat I was making was his.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. So you hadn't produced none prior to that?
Never. That room that they called the whack room or whatever, that's where I was learning my craft. I was learning do what I saw Daz and them or Quick and them around the building doing. I was learning how to operate it, getting with the engineers, learning how to MIDI in and MIDI out and all that. But I always been able to write in my head. I could always hear melodies. I just learned how to put my fingers to making that come out of the machines or whatever. You know, I could always write. But
man, you know it's gonna be some cats out there that make beats and produce that's been doing shit all their life. They whole entire lifetime, man, and you just come in and just learn how to make a beat. And next thing you know, you're doing songs with Tupac. That's crazy, ain't it?
I mean, but you know, that's shit. Sometimes you got to switch up your program if you still want to get in. You feel me?
Yeah,
that's a lot of shit. Sometimes we got to switch our positions up if we want to remain at the table. And you know, we see that transition in a lot of shit in regular life. You know, motherfucker you might think you going to work on this, and the motherfucker might say, well, we don't need that right now. What we need is this. So, you know what I'm saying? You got to switch up the program and shit.
That's crazy, man.
You do that on other jobs too. But look, Bob, look here, man. For the job, I'm a fast learner. Just give me a chance. Just give me a chance. You know, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it happen. If you cutting checks, consider me. You know.
And especially if that's the only way you getting checks cut. You feel me? Like,
say that right there.
Like,
say that right there.
I'm up here as a motherfucking intern right now because, like you said, they not heavy on R&B right now. So how am I going to be able to sustain and make some of that bread? Because right now they not fucking with the R&B. Not to say it probably won't come along, but in the meantime, I ain't finna, you know, I'll figure out how I can get in that lane and shit. Sometimes, fuck it. If I got to go study, learn how to work the MPC, come up with some melodies, get me a motherfucking keyboard player in here and get him to play some melodies and work the machine and come up with some drum tracks, nigga, fuck it.
That's strange you say that too, because that's exactly what it was. I sung the shit, the R&B stuff that I was making. The first song, he stopped the tape, but once he considered, hey, okay, I'm gonna sign you, man. Still, all the work was going to the rappers and the producers, the hip hop rappers. I'm still around the building now. I got access to Death Road. I'm around all the stars every day, but this ain't what they was on. He was talking about some future shit when he talked to me. He was saying, okay, I got Danny Boy, I got Michelet, I got Broad. He was bringing in a group 6 feet deep. So he was looking to go that way. It just wasn't happening right then. The checks that was being cut then was hip hop. So I said, if I want something now, I'm a single parent at that time. You know, I'm raising my son. And I needed to check then. So I started grabbing equipment around the studio and learning how to put it together and put what I've heard in my head, because I could always develop something. And I knew chords on the piano. I put a melody or whatever. It just so happened, man. Basically, my beats, when I was making them, I wasn't thinking of hip hop or a beat for pop. I was putting stuff together that I could also sing to. It just so happened that when Pac heard it, he heard himself in that. He heard where he could still make that work for him. You know? Yeah.
So let me ask you this, man. You know, the music stuff is all cool, man, but Death Row had a whole lot of stuff going on, man. Let me ask you this, man. Was it really ass whoopings and beat downs being passed out like they say it was?
Oh, hey man, look at they wasn't playing. They wasn't playing. You never knew what you might encounter any day you got behind that door. You know, anytime you walk past security, once you got in there where everybody was, either one, Studio A, Studio B, the kitchens, the lobby, all that, it could go down any day. An engineer, artist, or whatever, it could happen. And it
Damn,
often
they
did.
beating up engineers?
Man, what? Oh, there's so many stories on that. Engineers getting slapped, getting bit by dogs, because dogs be running around there, you know, like pit bulls be running, you know, might chase you into the bathroom, you know. So it was going down, man. It was going down, you know.
So Suge
like
was
get
over there
jumped on in the parking lot. Somebody might have an issue with you, catch you when you get out your car. They handle that, you know, like, hey, let's deal with that. So, you know, Death Row, it's not just the story that people try to do to glamorize. It really was. I heard it, what's his name? DOC. He said, man, he'd rather go to 1500 than go to Death Row. Really, it was like that. It was really popping like that. It was, you know, you might get served at Death Row for, you know.
It was definitely fades getting going around in the building.
Often, man. It was really like that.
Yeah,
I
know a fellow or two that caught that got their ass, you know, tapped up in there, you know. So
your boy, your ex CEO.
Yeah, it was people getting handled up in there. It was a place definitely I heard that it wasn't to be fucked with. You get me?
Man, my first Death Row meeting, man, I walked into Death Row. I mean, when Suge walked in the meeting, he popping this dude upside the head, like straight and steady, pushing him to keep walking into the meeting. I'm looking across at this girl, Shar Jones. She was a producer for Death Row. And I'm looking at her like, I know you see, Suge is really hitting this nigga. Like, are we really looking at this? And about 5 seconds later, he telling his homies, jump on the niggas, you know, like beat him up, nothing in the face. And this is a real meeting where everybody in. We all in the damn meeting. You know, other business stuff about to commence, but the beginning of it started with dude getting served.
Oh, is that right, man? Suge wasn't playing, and he had a slogan over there: "Make it hit or get hit."
Yeah, he gave that slogan to me, man. Because I've heard it told by other people on YouTube and stuff about the get it hit, and that's what he told the producer. But no, actually, he told Daryl Harper that. What happened was Tyrone was the other guy that was in the room with me, that room that they called the whack room. So he and I shared that room 12 hours apiece every day. And one of his songs got picked up. Well, Pac walked in and liked one of his, I think that's what happened. But Suge certainly liked his song. All right. And I turned in a song, but I turned the song to 6 feet deep. But I told them it was 2 members of their group that was bomb. 6'8" and 6'9", 6'6" and 6'9". And I said they should lead it. The other two dudes just they was a good unit, you know, with y'all background. But what they wanted every one of them to sing some portion of the song. It came out sounding like Bloodstone or something. So Suge didn't too much favor that. So in the meeting he addressed that. And he said, Tyrone, we like your song, but D Hart, I let them tell you what's wrong. They said they ain't kick it. And he said, man, you got 3 weeks to write a hit or you gonna get hit. You know, and I guess the results was it was a victory story in the end because I wrote that hit. Well, I wrote a song that was it was liked by everybody at Death Row. When I actually ended up finished writing it, Suge, Pac, and Hammer was on the ground. They pulling each other's clothes, fell on the ground, wrestling, talking about this nigga wrote a hit. This nigga wouldn't wrote a hit. I knew right then I wasn't gonna get my ass kicked. Yeah, so.
Man, that's crazy. So it was grown ass men out there just getting hands put on them like that.
What?
Record company.
You know what killed me, man, when I hear people say, much like what you told me the other day, still, man, if I was there, I would, man, well, it just would have went down. Cause I see a lot of people that I know or I've seen situations, people came up there to check Suge. I just me personally, I just ain't never seen nobody actually do it. You know, I
you know what? I ain't saying that
got
you need to be the toughest nigga in the world, man, but it's one thing a nigga talking slick to you, dog, and it's a whole nother thing a man putting their hands on you, dog, and just making you trying to.
How would you have handled that, though, Steele? How would you have handled if you went up there to present some beats and then Suge's mentality was, oh, man, I don't like this motherfucking shit. And so he called his homies in there to jump on.
Well, you know what? Anybody get their ass whooped. Now in a situation like that, I go in there, I might have got my ass whooped, man, but somebody would have got shot probably.
Then that's what would have happened, man. Because only people I
Somebody probably
actually
got
saw
shot, dog.
stand up to him was two of his homeboys.
Now I'm pretty sure they was doing pat downs though when you come through the door. So
man, niggas still got their gun in there. I ain't never saw Nate Dogg in there without a gun. Never. Nate Dogg some kind of way had a system. He always, because he wear these like jogging pants or whatever, and you can see his stuff hanging out his pocket. Like, you know, they got them loose jogging pants on. You see the butt hanging out the. Nate Dogg wasn't he might have been singing R&B, man, but Nate Dogg wasn't somebody to mess with. He was a smooth cat, but he could switch up.
Yeah, definitely Nate was hood. Definitely.
Yeah, Nate wasn't no joke, man. It was a couple of them that just more than just the records. They was about that life, you know. So
definitely.
Yeah. So but I've seen a couple of people say things to Suge, man. I seen Heron get at him. Rest in peace, Heron. I seen Rock get at him. I seen a couple people that I saw Jewel get at him one day. I saw Jewel say some stuff to Suge one day. Nigga, I know you don't want me to call my homeboy. And he grabbed her around the neck because he didn't want me to view her talking to him like that in my sight. You know, like, so he grabbed and pulled her in the office with him. You know, I was like, he was in the doorway of his office and she was, nigga, you know you, woo, you don't. He grabbed her around the neck and grinned, holding his cigar and pulled her in the office with him. You know, because Jewel was gangster too. That was a girl, but she was, you know, she had a little edge on her too.
Yeah, I'm definitely not saying, man, I don't believe in playing a tough part because anybody can get caught out of bounds, man, but it's just a certain amount. You know, a man put his hands on you, man, you go have to fight. You know, you go have to get on.
Yeah, I think that's typically, we won't go down that path too long because that wasn't the worst experience. And you know, I already told you one of the stories where Pac came back from where Pac didn't come back. Put it that way. They went to Vegas, and Pac lost his life, and Suge called a meeting. Everybody's mandatory. Whenever he had a meeting in his office, most of the time it was death row. Everybody there is mandatory. Ain't nobody supposed to be nowhere else around the studio, in the bathroom, and nowhere. You know, so everybody got to go. We got there, man, and everybody was singing tributes to Pac. Yo there, Hammer, his crew there, Quick is there, Dog Pound, Snoop and them there. I mean, everybody. In the young group we had called Bugatti, it was a female group they were coming with. And everybody singing dedications, but everything is like cover songs, songs that already been out by some star. And I was the only one who had a song already written for Pac after he lost his life, because when they got back from Vegas, I'd already been working on a song. I just didn't know what the song was going to be about. But I had the melody on the piano, what I was messing with. When I heard he lost his life, I went to grab that, pulled it up, and I guess I was just really over inspired. The words came like, like fast, and I wrote the song, called background in, had to call the musicians in, so it was almost completed by the time they got back from Vegas. But one of the other writers with me, Reggie Lamb, he knew I had finished it. I think he was on the background. So he moved over to me in that meeting when they singing dedications for Pac, because everybody down there crying. And he moved up. He said, "Man, you the only nigga got a song for Pac. This your time to sing. You ought to sing this for everybody in the room." And it sounded good to me. So I snuck out of Suge's office, out of the red room. That's what they call it, red room. And I snuck out, and I went down to the vault, the place we called the vault, where we kept tapes, because Suge prevented anybody from leaving, at this point, leaving out of the studio with tapes or dats or whatever. Stuff was getting out, so he had to leave everything in a vault. The security had to let you in to get it. So I went down there, got my dad, and I went to the studio in the back. Studio to the back was in close proximity to Suge's office, where they in there singing, where they in there doing dedication. Everybody sang. My biggest mistake was I didn't look at the council. The last person in there had it blasting. So it was turned all the way up. So when I went to cue the tape up, I pressed play for a second, and it blasted. And they heard and
Suge heard in his office.
And the minute I pushed stop, you heard Suge say, "What the fuck in my motherfucking studio?" And I heard the very nigga that told me to go get my song, "That's D Harp in your studio." And I heard him say, "Tell that motherfucker to come here right now." Man, I got to the doorway of that office. That nigga snatched me around the neck, man. And this is some grown ass shit, man, because I'm looking at OFTB, all these other niggas behind me, looking like all he had to do was nod his head. They'll help Suge, like whatever. And I'm good with all of them. We really good, but they all kind of hurt. Everybody kind of, they just lost their biggest artist. And they look like they would have vented on me. Like, nigga, Suge, we'll help you, So I looked at it and I turned my neck around to Suge. He's taller than me. I turned my neck up and I said, "Hey, look, man, I just wrote a song that I finished before y'all got back. I thought this would be the best time to present it." He said, "Good, because you up next." That's how that went. And then I sung the song. Was almost not a dry eye in the room. I mean, Hammer, his crew, everybody was with their arms around each other when I finished singing the song. As I was singing the song, they was like in a circle. It was about 2-3 different circles in that room, like where they was like unifying, let me sing my song. But after that, every time I saw the Outlaws, sing that song for us. DR, sing that song you wrote for Pop. But that was another situation where it turned out good, because when I finished singing, the only thing Suge said was, "When it's real, you feel it." That's the only thing he said. But I knew I wasn't about to get jumped on there again.
Okay, so you hear a lot of stories about this stuff, man. It was a lot of friction in the building around Tupac, huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah, and initially, it was electric. It was fun. It was, it was musical. It was what I went there for, the music part. But quickly, I'm talking about soon, it became like filled with tension, and you knew the atmosphere was different. The two crews weren't dealing with each other. The Dog Pound, the Outlaws. It was they wasn't going in each other's studios doing songs or putting a verse down for each other. All that is stopped. You know, so yeah, initially it was great, man. It was a great atmosphere because Pac really brought a spirit there that they started adopting. Because Pac had a man, this brother was he's a workaholic. That's the only way I can put it, man. Some people, I see other people think because they with hip hop, I see a lot of people think they just like the artists they see because they go get the same braids and a blunt, or they learn how to sag their pants. But Pac was the kind of man, he really put in the work. It wasn't just the image or the tattoo or the whatever image. This man put in work, and he was a workaholic, man. He came, look, the first night he was out, he did 7 songs. 7 songs. The first night he worked at Death Row. He did 7 songs. I think he did about 3 of them with Dalvin and them. They was there. Jodeci. So, but I'm saying he did 7 songs straight, bro. That's when you, most of the work habit there, most of the people be sitting around, their homies in there. They might do 2 days on the same song. Pull that back up. Woo, and they play, and somebody else do a verse or whatever like that. Man, Pac, man. Okay, we got the hook here. Now we don't know what we're doing here. Throw that up. Put that up. Let's start another one. Let's do another one. He was like a workaholic, bro. He was a workaholic. So, and I ain't never really saw nobody work like him. Just to put it that way. He just, you know, me and him, we'll leave. Like, let's say we did 2 songs that night. And call me in the morning. You got another song? You got another beat?
Mm-hmm.
Say, yeah, man, I got a beat. He'll say, yeah, we'll be at the studio in an hour. He'll hang up, call me right back and say, matter of fact, I have 2 beats in case I don't like the first one, you goat mouth motherfucker. That was his thing, calling everybody goat mouth, you know, so, yeah, but, yeah. It was electric when it first started, but after a while, bro, it got ugly, even with the stars, you know.
So tell me this, man. You know, me and you talk about it all the time, man. I think the fans of the show know. I talk about my homeboy Tyrus a lot. Tyrus Hines, known to the rest of the world as Big Psych. Me and him was really good friends, man. And
Yeah.
And I don't call everybody a friend, man, but Big Psych was a real friend. Like, that was my guy, and Big Psych had a real good spirit around him. When Pac initially started coming to your sessions, you think Psych had something to do with getting him to come by? Because you said Big Psych had defended y'all one time.
No, here's what happened, bro. Maybe I don't know, maybe I didn't explain it clear to you. I said I don't have any problem believing that in the end, I don't have any facts, but I do believe there's a very good chance that Psych was the reason why what really initiated Pac opening that door one day and asking me about that beat. And I don't even know if he wasn't the reason why Suge came in there and turned the room from what it was. It was a room. It was like a utility room at first, bro. They kept big reel-to-reel machines in there, reel-to-reels back when they was using reel-to-reels. So it wasn't no real place, no real work environment for somebody writing music. It's just that I would go in there. They had a double cassette, and back then I was just writing for Kevin Lewis, rest in peace, Ramsey Lewis' son. He was managing the studio. So here's what happened. I would go in the entire room, would go in there, we put a couple piece of equipment, we started making that our work spot, but it was really like a utility room. So what happened was Suge ended up coming in there one day hearing that they was calling us whack or teasing us and stuff like that. And he came in there one day and said, man, I'm tired of all this hate I'm hearing around the building. We're going to turn this into the green room. It ain't the whack room. We're going to bet we get a hit out of this room. And what happened was, while they was teasing us, one day, one of them pushed the door and said, that's some whack-ass beats and woo-woo, whatever. Right after that, Psych passed by, opened the door and said, man, y'all go home, man. This shit sound good, man. Don't let that discourage y'all. Basically, keep your head up like that, So I said, I wouldn't doubt if he was the one who went to Pac and told him, hey, they down there, he's really basically talking about dog pound people or they crew, somebody from their crew or they hung out with their crew, hollering, them niggas in their whack. And I know Psych opened the door one day and right after it happened, and said, man, y'all continue on, man. Don't let that discourage y'all. Right after that, Suge did the thing about turning the room, and then Pac walked in and said, hey, man, what you playing right there? Oh, man, I want that. That's my beat right now. So I'm saying things occurred for us good after Psych did that. So I don't have any problem believing that he's what initiated going to Pac saying they down there teasing homeboy and them in that room. You know, them niggas in there, you know. So I don't have any facts, but I wouldn't have any problem believing that.
Yeah, it ain't hard
Me
for
and
me to
him was
believe
very
either.
good friends. Me and Psych was very good friends, yeah.
Yeah, I don't doubt that for a second, man. That's how I met Psych on some stuff, man. Like him trying to help me out on some stuff, man. And just a good brother, man. I miss him, man. There's so many hoe ass, buster ass dudes walking around now, man, that got their life, man. And it seemed like God always picked the good ones to leave early.
Yeah, man. I know what you're saying, man. Yep.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, man. We can't it's unfortunate, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, you'll have a real good nigga taken from you, and then you be like, this a gang of shiesty motherfuckers still around here. Like, why these niggas is still walking around and scheming and scamming and bullshit?
Yeah.
And then a nigga that you know was true blue and you know was really for the movement and was a real close friend and never, you know, bullshitted nobody, was straight up with motherfuckers. Them be the niggas that check out early.
Man,
Yeah,
ain't that
check out
strange?
early.
One of me and Pac's hits was The Good Die Young. Ain't that strange? The Good Die Young, yeah. So
That's crazy, man. So let me ask you this, man. I want to go back to how you felt. Was you in the studio? What beat was you working on? What was the first beat he heard you messing with?
the first beat he heard was the last one they put out on Better Days was Military Mind. The first beat was Military Mind. But he was doing back then. He was doing a project called One Nation. So he had these other brothers there. I forgot their name. I know one of them name was Buckshot or something.
Yeah,
A couple
Buckshot.
other people from up north or whatever.
Buckshot Shorty.
Huh?
Buckshot Shorty.
Yeah. So all of them they was there trying to do some album about people uniting and all that, and that's what we, you know. He heard that beat. What's that? Whoa, so that's mine, man. Go put it in the room. So that was the first one we messed with. And yeah, I told you though, still that was a weird session though, because I just learned how to start programming, and what I did was I made the beats like a riding kind of beat, and they riding on it. And then halfway, when you get halfway through the song, it starts going to this ding ding, it's like a love song, you know, because I didn't put the wrong sequence in the middle of the song, and every time they get to that point, then they get to playing that slow song again, and they was like, "What the hell?" So this famous engineer, everybody know it, Tommy D. He found it. He found it in my sequence. He see that, oh, you accidentally put this here, Daryl. So, well, he took that sequence out and the song went well. But I remember when that kept happening, Psych stood up and said, oh, they got to get you to get in here with my boy, man, and this is what you do. But he said it in a laughing way. You know, he had them all chuckling, you know, like laughing, you know, and but I'm sweating bullets. Man, you in here with Pac and this go wrong. This boy didn't pick you up to do a beat. And you didn't mess, you know, like, yeah, but that, you know, I thought that was a bomb story to tell, man. You know,
yeah, that's funny, man.
Man. You
Stuff like
finally
that
messing with Pac and something happening with your beat. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
I've been in situations like that before.
Hey, I'm gonna have to grab a cord. Give me a minute. I can grab a cord so I can put it in my phone. I just saw the thing go red.
It's all good. Go ahead.
Okay, give me a minute.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I think all of us, man, as producers and beat makers, don't always have the moments. Because when you finally get in front of some people, like, right, it's one thing when you playing beats for your homies in the hood and stuff like that, and your local crew, right?
Right.
But when you finally get a chance, especially back then, because it's not like it is now, you could MP3 somebody some stuff pretty soon. Much when you submit your beats now for people, they perfect it. But when you got a studio section, man, and everything has to go right. You remember back then, you have a beat program. There was a little different process recording because you usually go on a 2-inch. You know what I'm saying? So you go on a 2-inch and stuff, man, and you like, man, what is going on? I can't find what's going on with my beat. Because I had that happen before. I remember, man, I had an SB1200, right? And I remember I went up there with Bobcat, and that's when I was real green. I just took my disc with me. I didn't think about taking none of my modules with me, right? So I just brought this disc, and I went and took to Bob, and only 4 of my sounds was playing. He was looking at me like, man, your beat is incomplete, man. We were supposed to be recording with somebody that night, man, and it was a beat, man. And he was like, man, did you really make that beat you had? Where the rest of the sounds at? And it was just crazy, man. And I remember being so nervous, but he was just giving me a hard time. I found out later on, right? And there's stuff like that happens sometimes, man. It's crazy. You never did nothing with Tupac, did you?
We did something, but it was on somebody else's project. We did a song called Gangster on South Central Cartel's album. It was me, I believe Pac, Ice-T, South Central Cartel, and I believe one Spice, Pac, me, Ice-T, South Central Cartel. I'm sure it was another artist.
So he had a full gangster lineup. What was the name of that song? You remember the name of it?
It was called Gangster Team.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go pull that up. I might have heard that before. I might have.
It was Spice, Tupac, Ice-T, and me with South Central Cartel.
Yeah, look at Daryl, man. You in here, man, messing up the recording session, man. Going to go record stuff, man. Don't have me get like Suge up in here, Daryl.
I don't do that, man.
I'm just messing with you, dog.
I had all the sugar I could take, man.
We don't do none of that around here, brother. We treat everybody. We ain't nothing but love, man. It ain't never that serious.
Where did so how did you come across it in the Death Row days?
Bro, good question. I had a homeboy here in Long Beach, Chuck. I was writing R&B in a gang of little studios, you know, because I ain't really from Long Beach, but I had moved to Long Beach, and it didn't take me long to start finding out where the little studios was. But every time I went to one, I was writing R&B hooks and stuff like that. And he would show up. He kind of knew everybody in Long Beach. You know, he knew all the places to go where some music, you know, was pretty good music was played there. So I would go there. It wouldn't take long for me to hear something on somebody's beat for like a hook or something or a melody. And they started messing with me. But Chuck would always show up. And when you showed up, he would always tell me, oh, I know who wrote that hook. You wrote that, dude. I don't know who wrote the verses, but you wrote that. I said, yeah. So he kept telling me he knew Suge. But at that time, a lot of people was telling me they knew Suge. He actually did. So we pieced up on some money. I'm driving my girl Ford Temple. And one day we pieced up on the gas, went out there to Tarzana, to Can-Am. And the first person, once we got past security, the first person I saw at the council at the studio was Snoop standing over the council. I couldn't believe I walked in this room, and goddamn, the most famous rapper in the world at that time was Snoop. He's standing right there. I'm like, this nigga really did know Snoop. Right? And it went from there. I started writing for Kevin Lewis, which was Ramsey Lewis' son, rest in peace. And then eventually I went outside and saw Suge pulling up, and And hey man, my line back then, this was my line. I tell him, man, just like Babyface, I said, the only difference between me and Babyface is he famous. I write melodies like that. I write hooks like that. He stood back and looked at me up and down. He said, I'm gonna be back in about an hour, man. I have something for me to listen to. I thought he was buzzing, but I waited for the hour. He got back in an hour. He sent some guys looking for me. Because you almost lived off of what you call microwave popcorn and soda, because that was always available. It was free, you know. And I'm sitting there, I'm popping the popcorn. 2, 3 niggas ran to the door. Hey, you the one who could sing? You were gonna sing for Suge? And I said, yeah. He said, well, he want to hear you now. I said, wait till I finish popping this pop. Fuck that popcorn. Suge wants you now. And that's the first time I really realized his importance, like, and people willingness to please him. Now I'm saying these grown niggas in the doorway talking about fuck that popcorn. That's okay, like that. And I went in that room, the room that ended up being the whack room and the tape room, and I sung some songs I had already been writing. Man, he stopped the first one he said, you got a job. I sung it to the hook. He said, man, I got Danny Boy, Miss Chalet, I got a group coming in. Bro, this kind of shit, he said, this kind of shit take us to the wards. Man, he said, be here tomorrow with your ID and your what's the name like that. I have my attorney here to talk to you. And that's just what happened. We walked out of that room still. I'll give you another little thing. We walked out of that room. He turned around to me and snatched me by both of my pockets. Now, he's taller than me, bigger than me. And I wasn't no small nigga. And I was real big. If you see stuff on YouTube, you see I was a big nigga. And he snatched me by my pockets and told me, how you living? I didn't know what he was talking about. He shook my pockets again and said, how you living? And I understood. I said, man, I got $4. He said, man, be at the office tomorrow, and I got something for you. Then be here at 7 o'clock to meet my attorney. And that's just how it went down. I got to the office the next day at 12 o'clock. It's $1,000 check. And I was a nigga, man, went around. If I had $150, that was big, you know? So at that time, that $1,000 spoke a whole lot. I was living with a chick. I'm driving her car. I was able to buy groceries, you know? So, you know, anyway, yeah. That's how I got
it.
It was,
when I'm glad. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, back in them times, man, it was really starving artists, man. You get me? Because, you know, shit. Niggas was, unless you was trying to, you know, hustle a little bit or whatever, it was a little different. It wasn't as easy to get on as it is now. You know what I'm saying? And then it was it's a trip, like you said, how niggas just wanted to please Suge, you know, and was that out of fear of getting their ass whooped themselves, or was that the fact of a nigga gonna cut that check? You get me? You know, so is that why he garnered, you know, so much respect from people, or was it intimidation and fear?
Hey, I gotta say, you know, you gave the two major reasons. For one thing, he kept something in their pocket. You know, he was in a position. Choose and fuse from him was still major in the hood. Whatever he could get him was like major. You know, a chain, a new set of tires for your car, or whatever, a car or something that was big in the hood. He could throw that around like it was nothing. And people just do it to satisfy him. Some of them had hopes of them becoming rappers. I'm talking about some of these bodyguards. You think I didn't do beats on some of the bodyguards? Some of them wanted, hey man, some of them had a dream. So when it was downtime and they saw me around the studio, hey man, can you listen to this? A lot of times I wasn't the nigga saying, nah, man, I ain't. I listen, you know, I tried to put something to whatever they was doing. You know,
did any of them have talent?
Huh?
Did any of them dudes have real talent?
Some of his homies did, but I don't remember what. Heron had a couple of raps or whatever. Rest in peace. But I remember a few of his homies, like I forgot what these niggas call themselves, but one of them in the group was was Red Rum. Tremaine. He was talented. He had some talent. The girl was Bloody Mary. He had some. They had some homeboys or some or Bloods or whatever that ran with their new Suge. They came through a lot of them. You know, I would mess with them, and they had something to offer. But a lot of the bodyguards, not really. You know, I'd say the closest one they had something to bring to the table was probably the one that ended up dating Rage, Neckbone. And it wasn't him, but they found a group, that group I told you about, Bugatti. 5 girls who were really tight. I mean, they was tight. So they brought Rage and him brought them to the table. They just Death Row dismantled too soon for them to actually get their stuff out or whatever. That was something that never really finished blossoming, you know. So, but they was tight. They was ready.
Yeah, it's like that. You know what though? One thing I want to say, man, is that we always hear the bad about Suge, man. And Suge really didn't do nothing no different than what a lot of these other executives been doing. He was just up front with his shit. There's a lot of these dudes that was doing.
Would you say that still for real?
You know, it was a lot of people that was doing shit, man. You know, from as we see from Puff on down, a whole bunch of people. You know, it was like this been going on since the Berry Gordy days, and before that, it was going on with the Italian Mafia. They was doing the same stuff in the music business, you know. So Suge did a lot of stuff, man. Suge changed a lot of people's lives, man. And like we got to give. To me, we speak too bad around our black people sometimes, man. It's like we have to tell both sides of the coin. Like, yeah, he might have been a little rough around the edges, but maybe that's why he was hella successful too, man. He probably was doing what he had to do in order to get his respect, you know, and to get stuff going. Because Suge did some amazing shit in a short amount of time.
He did, man. I don't want to put no names out there, but I know some specific artists and the people who signed them. And it was widely told their contract was just as bad or worse than Suge's. And you got to know who their group was. I won't name some of the groups, but I know at least 2 right now. And they had complaints that they paperwork was no better than Suge's or worse. So a lot of people put Suge's name out there, but a lot of times when they got a chance to sit in that same seat to sign other people or do whatever, they hand out that same stuff. Just that he had the gangster with it, you know. But a lot of them, they might not have had the gangster get down like that, but when they got a chance to bring somebody on, they hand that bullshit out too. When somebody didn't really know what the part of the game was or whatever like that, they didn't do their artists no better either. So, and I just I don't want to name a couple of names, man, because a couple of them are really prominent. And but they still here today. But they handed out that same bullshit that they was complaining about Suge.
Well, what you say, still, you know, about, you know, giving our, you know, our hip hop or black peers, you know, bad raps, you know, even though they might have done some good, you know, for some people. Like you said, Suge employed a lot of homies from the hood. He probably employed, you know, a few homies who touched down from the pen or whatever, who probably wouldn't have had the opportunities to travel and tour and go to, you know, functions or whatever. But do you feel that when certain, because not everybody does it, but do you feel when niggas come from our walks of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
You feel like, because every nigga don't come from our walk of life, right? Everybody don't walk this path that we have traveled. You know, if you're associated or been just neighborhood affiliated or come from that direction of dealing with people who are, you know, associated with the neighborhood. Do you think because of what has transpired in their life, maybe going from situations that we have all been through, you know, poverty or whatever, living in certain situations, or, you know, gang neighborhoods, or doing those walks of life, do you feel it gives a bad rap, or what do you think? Is it the money that influences them to become these people, or do you feel this is just something that's buried deep down, and because they're able to be in a position of power, it overtakes them? You get me? Because there's a lot of motherfuckers who get in power with money who don't uh, order niggas to get beat up, or having secret freak parties and beating on bitches behind me. Like, there's some niggas who get successful and do very good for the black community and the black game. But thus you have those motherfuckers who get into power, and is it that the money overtakes them? Or like you said, were these hidden agendas they had for getting money? And now that I'm in a position of power, I can be the nigga, tell a nigga, oh, I want 5 niggas to whoop a nigga ass.
Well, you know what I think? I'm gonna tell you the honest to God truth.
If you
think this
$200 million, you get me? How many people would be authentic with you if you was just a regular nigga?
I think it's the thing, I'm gonna tell you something, man. Anyone that we see that's prospering right now that got money and acting a certain way, they probably didn't act that way at one time because you didn't have the opportunity to see the authentic them, right? That's not the authentic them. Once they get money, you get a person's true representation of who they are, because when you don't have money, you don't have the funding to go out and get people handled. You feel what I'm saying? You just can't, now you may be able to. I got homeboys, right? I don't gang bang. I've always been very adamant about that. I ain't never belonged to a gang, but I still have very good friends who from some big places, right? And if I wanted to get people touched up, I probably could, but that's not me, right? Because that's just not me as a person, right? I don't think it's ever that serious, I think what Suge was doing, I think Suge had something he didn't want to lose, man. I think people come from where we come from, they get into them positions of power, and they're going to be on some Malcolm X stuff by any means necessary in order to keep what they got going, right? Because it's very hard to get in this business, man. But I'm gonna tell you the hardest part is staying aboard, man.
Yeah. Hey, can I annex that question and expound on that question you asked? What I like to say is some people fantasize, and that could be their fantasy to do some of that stuff, but they don't have the means to do it. Because the reason why I say that, I got around Death Row. I don't claim a set, but I've always been around Crips. Every hood my mother moved, not like she that was strategic. Like she was looking for a Crip hood. She's everywhere we moved to just ended up being Crip hoods, So, but some people don't. But here's the reason why I say it. When I got to Death Row, I got privy to hear things that I probably wouldn't have heard in other settings. In other words, I've heard Suge's homeboys, many of them, different ones, say things about Suge where he was nowhere to I'm talking about that wasn't positive. Like basically revealing that he wasn't really a game banger or he really didn't earn his stripes. I've heard his own homeboys speaking like this. Like I got some, I won't even mention it because y'all know him. But they was like speaking like, hey, he got the homies jumping in and off planes. I'm not impressed with that shit. I'm here for a check. I heard one of his homeboys, you two both know, say that at Death Row. So what I'm saying is, I've heard other homeboys who I know they was there just for a check, but they didn't really feel like he was like he basically, besides the money that he could give them, they didn't feel like he earned his stripes. Man, I remember he had 2 cousins, and they was twins, and they tried to sign me right after I left Death Row. And I was over their house one time, and they was trying to like talking about, hey man, can you do a beat for us? I had just did the Makaveli stuff and all the other stuff. And I'm sitting there, I ain't making no checks at this time. Suge in trouble, I'm woo-woo. He only giving checks to the biggest ones on the label. everybody's starving, and I'd already done the work. But I'm hearing from them talk about. I'm talking about they friends, they peers that's related to Suge, talking about that nigga didn't earn his. Basically saying, can't give you verbatim what they said, but basically the spirit of it was he didn't really earn his. He ain't really, he didn't earn his way out here on the streets. He got money. He buying his way through. He didn't put in work or whatever. So I've heard several of his homeboys talk like this. So, but I'm saying he was in a position that money brought something out of him. I don't know.
Daryl, let me tell you something, man.
Yeah.
I know Ronald and Donald, man.
That's their names. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you like this, man. Suge ain't, like I said, he's not no different than anyone else, man. And I think that when you do have money, you got to understand that's like 8 don't know me for a minute. I'm big on telling people 8, like everybody not your friend. I don't throw that word around loosely. You feel me? I got associates, man, but people are usually only good with you when you in position to do something for them.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. So people, and Suge is not alone in that, man. You have a lot of people who are paid, hired hands, hired guns, right? They hired guns, man. They what do they call them? People the hired mercenaries for hire, right? So if you got a crew of mercenaries around you, you always stand a chance, man, of your situation ending up like death rows or your kind of empire falling apart because the people around you wasn't genuine. They only there for what they have. I would rather have the type of authentic friendships that I have that I've developed over the years to where whether I'm rich, poor, or right in the middle, these people go still ride for me, right? They still go,
right.
They still go ride for me. They still come around. I believe all 3 of us, we should, at this point of our life, we've been around a long time. We probably got people like that around us that love us. They say, you know what? You're not going to do that. I've had friends, man. I'm going to tell you a story. And I'm not big on putting people on blast, so I'm not going to ever do it, man. I had a homeboy, man, that he would need help from here and there. He would need his rent paid here and there. And it was always a thing as I looked at this dude as my friend, right?
Right.
So whether it was him needing $500 to pay his rent or to buy his baby some diapers, so, a couple $100 here, a couple dollars there, right? I always kept some money in this guy's pocket, man. And it seemed like once he got in position, we were still cool, but it kind of just like the dynamic changed a little bit. I didn't see him as much or talk to him. And I'm fine with that because I'm not big into chasing people around. But I noticed that once he got all the way on, he almost became in clown mode, kind of like, well, I can do this and do that. And if you ask him to do something, and I kind of knew where we was at, because I asked him to come up to the show, and the answer to me kind of let me know where me and him was at right now. So I didn't ask him, and I'm not the one to ask somebody for something anyway, but I really just stopped messing with him because the person that has money and resources, you know who that person truly is. He's going to let you know right there. I don't have to fuck with you. I don't have to do nothing. So I never look at it as somebody owes me something anyway, because to me, a friendship is worth more than any monetary value you can place on that, right? A friend is something special, right? That's why I value my friendships, and I don't base my friendships around money or what somebody else can do for me or what I can do for them. It's a genuine situation, right? I think Suge, man, just fell victim to the hubris that plagues many of us in the Black community. We get a check, man, and we think we on top of the world, man. But I'm gonna tell you this: what comes up must come down, man. I've had a lot of money, man. And I've had times where I didn't know where I was gonna pay my next bill, man. I've been in both places, so it kind of made me the person I am today. I just put my faith in God, never in man. Because the thing is, man can close the door on you all the time. God is gonna always be there to, God is gonna always be able to keep the door open for you. So I don't place my faith in man no more because I ain't gonna say heartbroken because I don't get heartbroken over no nigga. But I'm gonna tell you like this: I don't put my faith in no man either unless they've demonstrated to me that, you know what, I'm this man's friend to the thick and thin. I'm gonna tell you who one of my good friends is, man. I got a friend, I mention him all the time. His name is, you might know him, Daryl. You know Fomby?
No, I don't think I do. Fonby, I don't think I do.
Fonby is my homeboy, man. Anything I've always been a good college boy. Ain't anything criminal I've ever done in California don't been because of Fonby, right?
Yeah.
But because he was a real good friend, he showed me the best way he knew how for me to get money out here, right? So he, put me on with a sack. That's just how it was back then. But he was a genuine dude, right? He was a genuine dude and he was a good friend to me. That's why, 30-some years later, me and him are still friends, right? We still cool. That's my boy right there. I just think, man, some people aren't genuine, man. And to keep it 100 with you, man, the crazy part about it is Suge, despite all the bad that people have to say about him, Suge was probably the most genuine dude at that label.
Wow.
He might have been the most. Think about it. He asked you, he didn't know you from Adam, how you living, and gave you some money real quick, changed your life just that quick. How many stories have we heard? Because I'm going to tell you this, Suge kept a whole bunch of them boys, man, living good and driving in cars and stuff. And some of them niggas didn't put out no hit records, dog. Everybody up there didn't put out a hit record that was driving around in a Lexus or a Benz or something.
Right. I know that. I witnessed that firsthand.
So everybody, think about it. Nate Dogg is probably the best dude in the hook game in history, right? And as far as a hip-hop hook master, Nate didn't really get to have no hit records of his own. He got his, he got his untimely demise and everything, but nonetheless, that don't negate the fact that he was incredible, right? But Nate didn't ever, he had some good songs, man. Like, Nate had some great solo records, but for whatever reason, he never really got the opportunity that those other guys had to put out his own big solo records, Don't get me wrong, because he definitely made them records hits, the ones that he was on, like Regulate and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But he didn't really have nothing of his own that he can claim. And I think that Suge was just, I think we all doing the best we can, man, because there's no classroom for this, man. These are very extreme situations that we find ourselves in as young black men sometimes, and we may not know how to navigate them. And you got to think about this. I don't think nobody ever thought of this part. Suge might have been even scared, man. You think about all the cats he had around him, man, that any time could have turned their back on him. And he knew that. I guarantee you, Suge, you don't get as far as you do as he did, man, with being dumb. I'm pretty sure Suge knew exactly what his relationship and his role was with all them cats.
I believe you still for real. I like, in other words, a lot of people I've met, they attribute all Suge's success to his muscle, and I don't. I feel like he had to know, he knew the ins and outs, and he watched Dick Griffey and them do their thing, and I think he was a good student, and I think he knew that part of it too. Some facets of it. Of course, he kept a team around him that knew more than him, but I mean, that's a smart man, If you the smartest man in your circle, you the dumbest man. So you got to have somebody pouring into your life too. So I think he watched and he observed things around him. And it wasn't just run up in somebody's office with the muscle. Because if that easy, every nigga on the street that got a little muscle will have a record deal right now, or have a company.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Right now, man, there's a gang of record companies out right now. I got some homeboys running in and get a check.
I'm going to ask all y'all a question real quick. I'm going to ask all y'all a question real quick before we get up out of here. Hey, do you have 15 people you can call right now if you want to just go somewhere and act a fool?
No, because I mean, I could call 15 people, but
you wouldn't do that.
I don't get in those situations to where I would need to do that, because I'm mature enough now to where I don't do that nowadays. Younger days, yeah, but the age I am now, there's not a situation that would cause for me now, to hit up 15, 20 niggas so we can go somewhere and act a fool. You just got to be mature enough, especially in the ages we are. You just got to be a mature person nowadays. That's why, my life is calm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't like me, I can't do anything about that. But as long as it doesn't create a path where it could harm someone that's close to me or family, you know, people talk and they're always going to talk. You just got to be able to handle what is brought to you. And on that note, that's it.
A lot of that stuff, and I'm gonna answer my own question. I think we all got people that we can call, but I've never had a situation, because like I said, I'm gonna tell you this. The people I can call are friends of mine, right? And I care about my friendships. I'm not gonna ever put none of my homeboys in a position over some stupid stuff to where they can come and lose their life or lose their
Say that
freedom, man,
shit. Say that for it. That's right.
behind some silly shit. You know what I mean? But my thing is this: I love you too much, dog, to put you in a situation to where now you can't provide for your family and your mama at home crying now, your daughter at home crying now because her daddy ain't around. And I've seen too many situations of people that are in them positions that they don't care. You got to remember, just like them people don't have no respect for the money, for the man, they don't have none, they respect the money, right? The man with the money don't respect them either. That's why he keep putting them in dumbass situations. Because he knows how they feel, right? And so the thing is, I would never have none of my homeboys be my frontline security. You know why? Because I would never want to see them in no position, man, of where they just fucked up now. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa.
And I thank you, man, for coming to sit down with us, man, because there's so much more to this story, man. But everything ain't to be, everything ain't to be told at once, man. I'm gonna get with you, Daryl, man. Like I said, I appreciate you coming to sit down with us, man.
I so appreciate it. And it was a pleasure.
And it was
talking with
never
Jay
last
again. He
minute,
just
but I'm
gonna
glad
remember
you
me,
came
man.
on.
Hey,
It's all good. Hey, I'm about to get my ass to football practice, so y'all get it cracking, man. Y'all
right.
y'all know what we do.
Okay,
All right, hey, I'm holler at you in a minute, dog.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah, Daryl, man. I know it was last minute, bro. Like you said, Abe had to run out here and go to practice, man. Abe loved coaching football, man. He loved being out there with them kids, man. That trips me out.
Yeah, man. I didn't get a chance to address him, man. I was just about to tell him. He just don't remember me, man. But I knew him from the north. I remember you started the interview with, do y'all know each other? And then the sound went out, and we was trying to adjust what happened to the camera and all that, and we never got to. But I wanted to know if he remembered me. Man. I used to talk to him all the time, man. He either knew a girl, he either knew somebody on the north, or he stayed on the north. But he stayed in the building with a chick I was seeing. Yeah, so.
I'm gonna ask you a question, man. One question before we go. We talked about Suge. Are your memories of Suge positive or negative?
Man, the positive is so good that I think it outweigh the negative. And the reason why I'm saying, I believe I got God for a whole lot of money, and that's negative. But I believe this man stepped in my life and changed my life, man. Like, this man was on a hip hop label. I didn't know nothing about hip hop, dude. You know, the biggest song I knew, the biggest talent that I really respected back then was Will Smith. Parents don't understand. So I didn't know hip hop like that. I wasn't no real buff with hip hop. I knew some other songs. I'm not saying I didn't know other stuff, but he's him stepping in my life, and my life was so chaotic and whatever. For him to even take me in the room and let me sing to him, that was major. That was life changing, bro. From now on, my name gonna be next to Tupac. My name gonna be next to Beyonce. My name gonna be next to Mariah Carey. All because this guy gave me a chance to do what I do. And so it's positive to me. I see so much stuff that he is. That question's easy to answer. I think it's more positive than negative, man. You know, he
Right.
put me in a lot of situations. A lot of situations. It wasn't just signing me. He put me around some people that all of those things helped change my life, man. So
that's what I'm saying, man. So sometimes, man, we got to look at situations, man, for the positive of it, man. We can't always, because like I said, man, he wasn't the first or the last shiesty music executive.
Yeah, man. Yeah. He had some ways, man. He had some ways.
You know, and the
but
thing
I just
is,
like the ways that got me signed and got me to be the Daryl Harper I ended up being. You know, like he really put me around some. For me to even think I was in a room with a Snoop Dogg, or I was in a room with a Hammer, I was in a room with a Tupac, I was in those rooms to even think that I got a chance to know Daz and all these the wonderful names of people I've met. Warren Campbell mainly, like Warren Campbell. Just for me to know that I met these people, if it wasn't Suge allowing me to come around his studio and be around in the company of these people, you know, and that had nothing to do with gangster. That was just
Yeah,
his
you know,
heart.
and I'm
That's just
gonna
his
say it
heart.
again. I'm gonna say it one more time before we go, man. Whenever you have people, man, that have this immense responsibility, man, of helping other people get their dreams out and their goals accomplished, you always gonna fall short no matter what, because people's expectation go always outweigh the reality of what and the gravity of what a situation really is, you know?
Right.
It's just how it is, man. But I appreciate you, man. We out of here, man. I'll holler at y'all next week.
Okay, man.
Peace.
All right.